What if I told you that one of the most underestimated cryptocurrencies in the market right now could actually explode way beyond what anyone expects? That's exactly what's happening with Aster crypto. People are whispering about it in Discords, Telegrams, and Twitter threads, but very few truly understand how high its price could realistically go. And in this video, I'm breaking it down in the simplest way possible so that you can decide for yourself whether this coin is the next big thing or just another passing trend. Now, let's start with the basics. Aster is not just another random token. It's positioned as a next-generation blockchain infrastructure project, aiming to connect multiple ecosystems. In other words, it doesn't just want to exist on one chain, it wants to bridge chains, connect liquidity, and make crypto more scalable. And you already know, the projects that solve real problems in crypto are the ones that usually moon hardest. So, the question is, how high can Aster go? To answer that, we need to look at a few things. First, market capitalization. Right now, Aster's market cap is small compared to giants like Ethereum, Solana, or even meme coins like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu. But history shows that when the hype kicks in and the fundamentals line up, coins can multiply their market cap by insane factors. Remember when Solana went from under $1 to nearly $260? Or when Dogecoin pumped thousands of %? Just because of memes and community power, Aster sits in a sweet spot. It has both the fundamentals of a serious project and the potential hype factor. If the right narratives catch fire, if it were to reach the same market cap as Solana at its peak, we could be looking at a price explosion of more than 20x, 30x, or even 50x from current levels. And here's where things get even crazier. Unlike many meme tokens that rely purely on speculation, Aster is building tech that can actually attract institutional players, developers, and DeFi projects. That means its growth isn't just hopium, it has actual adoption potential. Combine that with the fact that bull markets are driven by narratives, and you suddenly realize that Aster could benefit from multiple narratives at once: interoperability, scalability, decentralization, and even cross-chain DeFi. But let's not stop at Solana comparisons. What happens if Aster becomes the go-to chain for a specific niche, like gaming, DeFi, or interoperability protocols? Coins that dominate their category often see valuations in the tens of billions. If Aster captures even a fraction of that, we are talking about a price target that could absolutely melt faces. And here's the shocking part. When most people think about crypto price potential, they limit themselves to what has already happened. But crypto doesn't care about limits. No one believed Ethereum would ever break $1,000 back in the early days. No one believed Bitcoin would hit $69,000. And yet, here we are. Alright, so we've already established that Aster has the fundamentals, the positioning, and the narratives to pump hard. But now, let's get into the numbers and scenarios that could make people's jaws drop. Imagine this. Today, Aster is still a small player compared to giants like Ethereum and Binance chain. But what if it grows into a mid-tier or even top-tier blockchain? Let's do some quick math. If Aster reached a market cap of just $10 billion, which is not even close to Ethereum or Solana's highs, its price could easily be sitting at multiples of where it is right now. And remember, 10 billion in crypto isn't even that insane. There are meme tokens with barely any utility that have touched those numbers. So when a project with actual infrastructure and adoption potential even approaches that zone, it gets really exciting. Now let's push further. If Aster managed to climb toward the 50 billion market cap range, which is where Solana and Cardano have been before, we are talking about absolutely life-changing multipliers. We are talking about 20x, 50x, even 100x growth potential. And if you've been in crypto long enough, you know that these kinds of pumps happen way faster than traditional investors can even process. Here's the thing, Aster doesn't need to dethrone Ethereum or Solana to make people rich. It only needs to capture its own corner of the market, its unique selling point. And that's where Aster's tech comes in. Its focus on cross-chain infrastructure means it's not competing directly, but rather complementing the ecosystem. That's like being the glue of crypto. And when you're the glue, everyone needs you. And don't forget the psychology of bull markets. When prices start to climb, people FOMO in. Narratives spread like wildfire. Influencers pump it on Twitter and TikTok. And suddenly the coin everyone ignored is the hottest thing in the space. Aster could easily ride that wave if momentum shifts in its favor. Now, let's talk about one more angle people often miss: community and liquidity incentives. Projects that create a loyal, passionate community can defy all logic. Just look at Dogecoin, Shiba, or even Pepe. Aster already has a growing community. But if they manage to gamify adoption, create staking incentives, and push narratives on social media, the hype cycle could be unstoppable. So, realistically, how high can Aster go in the next bull cycle? Conservative estimates say a 5x to 10x is on the table. Optimistic estimates? A 50x to 100x. And the ultra moonshot? If Aster ever breaks into the top 10 cryptos, we are looking at numbers that could shock the entire market. But here's the wild part. Most people underestimate timeframes. It doesn't take decades in crypto for these moves to happen. A 10x can happen in months, even weeks, when the hype machine is fully activated. And if Aster becomes the next big narrative, the move could be explosive and sudden. So far, we've talked about the fundamentals, the math, and the market psychology that could send Aster into the stratosphere. But now let's address the ultimate question. What's the absolute ceiling? How high could this thing actually go if everything lined up perfectly? To answer that, let's play with some scenarios. If Aster simply climbs into the top 50 cryptos, we are talking about a solid, respectable return, maybe a 10x or more. That alone is enough to turn a small investment into something pretty impressive. But if Aster were to break into the top 20, now we are in a completely different ballgame. That would likely mean billions of dollars in daily trading volume, major exchange listings, and adoption across DeFi and dApps. At that point, we'd likely see a 50x or even 100x compared to where we are today. And that's not just theory, we've seen it before. Projects like Avalanche, Polygon, and Solana were once tiny players too. Now, here's the wild, moonshot scenario. If Aster becomes a top 10 crypto, that would put it in the same conversation as Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano. We are talking a market cap north of $100 billion. And if that ever happened, the price of Aster would be so high compared to today that early believers would be set for life. Sounds crazy? Maybe. But remember, every cycle has its unexpected winners. In 2017, no one thought Cardano or XRP would reach the valuations they did. In 2021, no one expected Dogecoin or Shiba Inu to become multi-billion-dollar giants. So, don't think it's impossible. Here's another thing to keep in mind. Crypto adoption is still in its early stages. Less than 5% of the world is seriously involved in crypto. As regulations evolve, as big institutions step in, and as technology improves, trillions of dollars could flow into this space over the next decade. And if Aster positions itself correctly, it could catch that tidal wave of adoption and ride it to levels we can barely imagine right now. But remember, none of this is financial advice. Crypto is risky. Prices go up, and prices crash just as fast. So always do your own research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Still, if you're watching Aster now, you're early. And in crypto, being early is often the difference between missing out and life-changing gains. So, how high can Aster crypto go? The conservative answer is a solid 5x to 10x. The optimistic answer is a 50x to 100x. And the moonshot? Let's just say, the sky isn't the limit, because in crypto, there are no limits. If you found this video valuable, hit that like button so more people discover Aster before it's too late. Drop a comment with your price prediction. Do you think Aster can hit $10, $50, or even $100 someday? And don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be covering every major update and opportunity as this story unfolds. Remember, in crypto, fortunes are made by those who dare to believe before everyone else. The question is, are you one of them?